All right. Hi, Andrew. I often hear that people on the left view human nature as being inherently good, while people on the right view human nature as being inherently not good, meaning capable of evil on their own. In Genesis, we read that God saw all that he had made, including humanity, and it was very good. How then can Christian conservatives reconcile these two seemingly opposite understandings of humanity, which seem to be true? Thank you for all your hard work, Levi. I think you may have stopped reading Genesis before you got to the good part. Christians believe that man is fallen, that he disobeyed God and went his own way in the garden, and therefore he is a broken piece of godliness. He is not evil, he is not good, he is flawed and fallen. He is steeped in sin, but still retains the mark of God on him. So he still retains this mark of eternal goodness on him, and he's capable of salvation through our old friend, Jesus Christ. It's a fascinating... I've said this before, but Genesis, the story of the fall in Genesis, is one of the most profound pieces of literature anywhere. It is such an incredible, and people are always arguing about whether it's literally true or a myth. For me, as a myth, it is actually more profound than if it had been literally true. That if there were a guy necessarily named Adam, who necessarily talked to a serpent, and his wife Eve talked to a serpent and ate an apple. That is less interesting to me than what this story is saying, because it's really, really strange. I mean, the sin that they commit is that they eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and that God says then he will be like us. And it's obvious that they're somehow usurping God. But why would God not want us to know what's good or what's evil? The theory that I work on at the moment is that the great revelation of almost any religious revelation, anytime you have a religious revelation, one of the things you realize is that everything is good. Everything is exactly as it is supposed to be. That is one of the things that happens when people have mystic revelations. That's the feeling they almost always describe. And what I suspect is that if you can see the world from an eternal standpoint, from God's standpoint, it is very good. If you live as we do in time, where you can't imagine, for instance, how the suffering of a child can ever be redeemed. We can't imagine how anything good could ever come from the suffering we see in the world, because we have limited imaginations. We don't have eternal imaginations. We see everything in time, and there is no way that the suffering of a child or the Holocaust can be redeemed in time. It can only be redeemed in eternity, and we trust that in eternity all of the evil of the earth will be redeemed. And it seems to me that one of my theories is that man had at some point the capacity, or was made with the capacity, to see the world in that way, and then lost it because he decided to take on the power of judgment for himself. And when Jesus comes, one of the things he does is he keeps saying, I'm the light of the world. You can see things while I'm here that you won't be able to see later. And what can you see? You can see that disease goes away basically at a word. He wills it and it goes away. You can see that the storms can be calmed. You can see that the world is good. It is actually a working good thing, but only as we see it does it have good and evil in it. And so I really do believe that there is a form of vision that we lost, and that is the nature of sin. Anyway, that's the answer to why Christians can believe that people are not inherently bad or inherently good. They are inherently broken. There's something wrong. They have fallen. And I think that is literally true. That is absolutely true.